Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 51, another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week. We're nearly there. If you haven't subscribed by now, I can't save you, but if you haven't, you know what to do. I'd appreciate it. However, first one, super practical. These are all the trends decks for 2024 you will ever need. Thank you to the great people on the left-hand side who put this together. They do this every year. They put them all together as PDFs, or they are PDFs. They collect them all together. They put them all on a free Google Drive so you can look through them. You and I can look through them for free. There is a link in the description below. Do show them some love on LinkedIn or whatever. Now you're probably also thinking what I'm thinking, which is why don't you just whack them all through some sort of ChatGPT-atron, which is exactly what Matt Bell has done. And then you can see this chart below of what's trending and what's not trending, for instance. So AI, definitely trending. Crypto, very much not trending. Metaverse, it's not having a great year. TikTok, for instance, about the same. So there you go. Lots of interesting things, all for free, and it is a treasure trove. So go and check it out. This is motorbike news. I like motorbikes. I'm going to tell you about this cool motorbike. This is the MOTOROiD2. It is the second version of it. It's taken a couple of years for this one to come out. And yes, it is hovering by itself. It is balancing by itself. It has a gyro in it. It is electric. It has gesture control. The reason this person is jiggling around is it's also trying to show that it's agile like a ballerina, I guess. But it is shape-shifting as well. Not exactly sure why you'd need that. And likewise, I'm not exactly sure why you'd need to be in front of your bike and wiggling it left and right. But that said, the reason I thought this was interesting is there's been a lot of legislation coming for self-driving cars, but also changing the speed limit of cars or the speed of cars for limits. Bikes have always been on the outside of that because if you change the speed of a bike going around the corner, they tend to fall over or go the opposite way. So all of a sudden, this might be really interesting for changing the speed of motorcycles. Now, I'm not sure I really like being on a bike that somebody else is controlling the speed of, but likewise, if you are having any mobility issues and you want to ride a bike, this is a great option for you as well. So I like that. Gaussian splatting is the big news in 3D world this year. Just trying to explain it very quickly, you render a 3D scene not by pixels on a flat surface essentially, but by having a fog, a 3D fog of splats. And if you look through those splats in a certain way, they generate a scene. They actually look like a scene. And then as you move slightly to the left or right, they'll look a bit weird. But if you put more splats there, you can capture that as well. So everywhere you look, you can actually make that scene look like a 3D scene. So previously what you do is you would generate a scene, you would generate the splats, and then you would look around the splats as the model. Now what we're actually now seeing is, yes, you can do that interactively, but what you're now seeing is real time. So somebody has taken a single camera, this is Imperial College in London, well done. So you're seeing at the top right, a single camera, and in real time below, you're actually seeing a 3D scene being generated and rendered. So you can actually just be watching the lower scene and you wouldn't know that it wasn't actually a real scene. The benefit is you can then look into that scene and move around it. So imagine videos of the future or even Google Street of the future where you can just freely walk around everywhere you really want to go because it's not just a video anymore, it is completely explorable. There you go. So live Gaussian splatting. Interesting. Now, we used to do this a lot, which is I'd look back at all the apps every year just to see what people are doing. And you go, look, it's Angry Birds or it'd be TikTok or something like that. Now, I thought it was really interesting this year when I looked at it. I haven't the faintest idea what any of these apps are. I've never seen any of them except for Mubi on the Apple TV. So I thought that was interesting in its own right, but I'd also then say, well, these are Apple's awards. They give them out through some internal process. It's not just based on sales or ratings, that sort of thing. However, if you didn't know, it's worth knowing this is what people are downloading or what people are valuing right now. So a Trails app where you can find trails and essentially like Strava, I guess, or a mapping app, but for trails. You've got Pret a Makeup, which I had a go of, which is quite interesting. You can do makeup styles and it's got this kind of 3D funky thing. Photomator, which is like Photoshop, etc., etc. A couple of games in there. And yeah, interesting. I didn't know about any of these. If you didn't know about any of these, you're either out of touch like me about what people are really downloading, or you probably need to go and do some research like me. However, this might be your wake-up call. Lego Fortnite. I've been waiting for this for a long time. This has been in the news for probably 3 or 4 years. Epic were talking about a metaverse with Lego and we kind of heard lots of stuff and then it died down. And this is what we've come out to. So this is great. If you know Fortnite, it is a battle royale game fairly hectic, shall we say, probably not suitable for children all the time. Lego has to be. So they've turned it into a resources management game, an adventure game, and it's brilliant. And it's also free, by the way. This is absolutely free to download. So within Fortnite, you use the same sort of stuff, same sort of rendering engine, all through Epic, and you then you make your stuff, you find your stuff, you build your stuff, and you can do it with your family, you can do it with the weekend, and I think it is it's really cool, and it's free. So do download it. Again, link, or just search for basically Fortnite Lego, you'll find it. Extreme E is the equivalent of, I guess, electric rally cars, and they've obviously been electric, and there's a bit of a problem with electric if you're a bit of a fan, in they just don't sound right. But environmentally, they're awesome, okay? So what do you do if you need to then look into the future, but you need to solve both of those things? You look to hydrogen, of all things. So they've made a commitment that in 2025, they will move to internal combustion hydrogen engines, and also try to power the entire movement, the entourage, the transport, the hospitality, using hydrogen fuel cells as well. So the benefit of that is the technology can actually use sustainably sourced hydrogen, for instance, and therefore you can burn it in an engine and it will just generate water, but it will sound interesting as well. So there you go. So motorsport that we know, but possibly also zero emissions. Interesting. And finally, this is really interesting, BrainGPT. Of course, this had to happen. Now, we've seen this in MRI scanners, but this is the first time there is a mobile, essentially non-invasive way of finding out what you're thinking in your head and turning it into words. So this is actually from the University of Technology in Sydney, uses a cranial cap. I've slightly sped it up, but basically what they do is they just think of something, and once they've thought of something, it then turns it into speech and then talks about it. So it's not perfect, as you'll see. I've sped this up just for usefulness, really, but as you see, so what it actually says is the fairy tale was filled with magical adventures in a charming enchanted forest, and then what's coming out of their brain, a fairy tale had lots of magic, journey, forest magic. It's not far off. Yes, I'd like a bowl of chicken soup, please. What is it coming out of the brain? It's coming out of the brain, yes, a bowl of beef soup. Okay, it's not a million miles off. Again, accessibility-wise, this is going to be a game changer. This is amazing. But likewise, if you want to steal somebody's PIN number, you walk up to them outside the ATM and you put this against their head and you read the numbers coming out of their head. It's probably how you're going to make this big sort of heist of the future. Brain thinking and PIN numbers. There you go. I didn't tell you that. However, hopefully that was useful. Hopefully it was interesting. One more next week, I think, for the year, maybe two. Other than that, I'll see you next week.